One of my words for this year is aroha paparahi, which in Māori that translates to love foundation. And
Mm.
that there is my focus for this year. Creating an environment for myself full of love that helps me thrive the way I want to be.
What would you do if you were at a crossroads with your jewelry business? Meaning you had to make a big decision and your freedom, your flexibility, and your income were on the line. Well, I bet you would be in a state of trying to decide which is the right way to go at the crossroads. Well, that's exactly the decision that my guest today, Antoinette Elizabeth, had to make when she was transitioning her business from her brick and mortar store to selling online. So I'm excited to dive into this incredible interview with Antoinette. But before I do, hey there, I'm Tracy Matthews, the Chief Visionary Officer of Flourish and Thrive Academy. I'm also the author of The Desire Brand Effect, Stand Out in a Saturated Market with a Timeless Jewelry Brand. And I help jewelry business owners start, grow, and scale successful 5, 6, and 7-figure businesses online and off using my methodology called the Desired Brand Effect. And today I'm interviewing a rock star jewelry business owner. She's the founder of Your Prana in New Zealand. And for years, this woman had a mineral gallery that was thriving until her energy wasn't, and it was time to make a change. So I don't want to spill the beans. I'm going to dive right into this episode and share a little bit more about Antoinette's story. But before I do, I would love to remind you to subscribe to our channel and hit that little notification bell if you'd like to be notified of future episodes of the Thrive by Design podcast on our YouTube channel. All right, let's dive into this episode today. Well, I am so excited to have one of our student mentors and a graduate of our Train Your Customers to Buy From You Online program on the show today. Welcome to Antoinette Kennard. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, I thank you for having me here, Tracy.
I am so excited to talk to you because Chelsea's been obviously talking you up a ton, and you were one of our student mentors in our boot camp in January. We loved having you there. Your energy is like so bright and fun. And so we ended up hiring you to be one of our coaches in our Laying the Foundation program. And now I'm excited because you're going to continue on with us for our Train Your Customers to Buy From You Online program. So I'm here and excited to chat a little bit more about your jewelry business journey and to learn more about your experience kind of making a big transition over the last year and shutting down your retail store and going all in online. So how does that sound?
Brilliant. Let's dive deep.
Okay, perfect. So tell everyone a little bit about your business. You live in New Zealand and you had a rock and mineral store. So I want to kind of start from the beginning, like how'd you get into designing jewelry or selling crystals and all that stuff? So let's go from the beginning.
Okay, so when I was younger, my opa, which is my granddad, we used to go on lots of adventures and we used to find pieces of stone and power and all the good things. We used to take them home and we'd go into the garage and I was only allowed to touch certain things.
Interesting.
And I would make them into pieces. And over the years, my fascination grew. It wasn't my main career to begin with. I'm actually, I've been in the health and movement space when I was younger. And then there came a point where I started doing it on the side. And then I was like, no, I'm going to delve into this full time. I'm going to totally live my full expression. And yeah, I've been loving it ever since.
That's amazing. So you had a rock and mineral gallery, correct? Am I
Yeah.
getting that correct? Okay, perfect.
Well, yeah, what we call it is a mineral gallery.
Okay.
Mineral gallery. And basically that is my love of all the different stones, from semi-precious to, everyday carnelians, agates, a combination of what we find, because we go fossicking for stone around the country. We create pieces ourselves, and it's not just about making jewelry. It's not just about carving stone, but it's also about just admiring the beauty of the piece as it is, as nature created it.
So you actually go and I don't even know what you call this, like mine for your own stones or just find them?
Yeah. So we will go on trips. So for instance, I don't know if anyone here is familiar with Pounamu. Does that ring a bell to you, Tracy?
I don't know what it is, but is that the little carvings?
So Pounamu is New Zealand's version of greenstone, but it's only specifically found here in New
Okay.
Zealand.
Is that what you're wearing?
Yes, yeah. So I've got one here, and then I've got these here. So this here, this is a manaya. And
Okay.
so they all have symbolism behind them and connection to Māori, and we call them taonga, so treasures.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll go find the stone and then we'll bring it back, and yeah.
And then you carve it or you polish it or you just keep it rough depending on what you
Yeah,
decide to do.
or we
And
might make it into a cab, or yeah.
okay, so last year when we first met you, because I totally remember, I'm like, we need some videos. And I remember like, oh, this woman just submitted a bunch of videos from a retail store. That's pretty cool. So tell me a little bit about what was going on like about 6 months ago in your business, or maybe a little bit before that in your retail store.
Fantastic. So go back probably about a year is the most
Okay.
relevant for the journey. Everything's going great. End of summer, amazing. Then we had a really big storm that cuts off the connection to our area, which makes it a lot harder for tourism to come up here. And like we had a glow in the dark gemstone room. So if anyone doesn't know, gemstones actually do glow in the dark. And it turned out that we were one of the only ones in the country. We created it by accident, and then one of the only few in the world that did it. So there's an idea for anyone who wants to run with it.
How do you make gemstones glow in the dark? Well, you could tell me after your story, but
Yeah. And so, yeah, we were like, okay, cool. Well, how do we pivot? How do we navigate this lack of traffic coming through? And so I was then looking into wholesale. I was then looking into moving online. I was also looking at a new premises because our premises was slightly off the beaten track and not quite on the main road. So I was looking at all the things, like I'm a very action taker. And I was like, TYC. We were also looking at momentum at the time, but TYC was where we landed. And I knew that diving into it, because of the coaches and preliminary calls, they gave me the confidence that I would find the answers I needed to make the right decisions. I had a lot of balls up in the air, and I was like, well, which direction do I need to go? And so it gave me the confidence that I could move online and
Mhm.
that I also had the ability to crack wholesale. Now, I can delve more into that wholesale factor now if you like, or we can cover it
Sure.
later. It's
Well,
pretty big.
let's talk about the glow in the dark gemstones, and then I'm going to ask you about your wholesale thing because I'm curious about that, and I don't want to forget because I think it's fascinating. So, okay, so my friend Zach collects these rocks from China or somewhere. They're only found in China, and those glow in the dark, and they have like crazy energy. I bought one once, and that's the only thing I knew that glowed in the dark. So, tell me about these glow in the dark gemstones.
Okay, so I'm really about like science as well as the spirituality. So I bring it all together. So you have fluorescent and you have phosphorescent. So
Yes.
a phosphorescent stone will continue to glow when it is taken out of the light, as long as it's in a dark space. It's like it absorbs the energy. What
Ooh.
we had in here was mainly fluorescent stones, and so they needed the light. And we found out we built so many lights. This was all a big experiment, and it started off at home, and then we brought it into the gallery. We bought so many lights. Turns out you can only get the right lights from overseas. And then we turned this room. We blacked out the windows. We blacked out everything. We've got all the shelves. We've got all these lights, and like euperlite, fluorite, manganocalcite, different varieties of other calcite, septarian, they all glow beautifully. And it was about getting an array of different colors:
Mm.
pinks, greens, blues, yellows, oranges, peaches, whites. Yeah, and everyone was absolutely floored by it. Like the cruise ships would come and see, and yeah, it was pretty neat.
That is so cool. Do you have any pictures of it? I bet it's amazing. Can
Oh
you take
yeah, I got
pictures of it?
heaps,
Or
heaps of pictures. Yeah, on our social media, heaps.
you'll have to send them to me or tag me in them or forward it
Yeah.
because I definitely want to check it out. I'll go stalk your Instagram later. That's so cool. Okay, so you started looking into these other avenues because the road was cut off and you were kind of off the beaten path. So that kind of cut you off to the tourism that was common for the area. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, it definitely slowed things down quite a bit. And I'm really glad that we did make that decision, because at the moment that area is now closed down again for about 6 months.
Oh,
And that started about a month ago. And I knew that that was going to be coming up. So that was also a big factor in terms of when it came to the end of our lease and the decisions that we decided to make.
okay. So we're gonna circle back to that to the end of your lease in just a minute. But so you started looking into wholesale and selling into wholesale. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
So this is one of the massive, massive credits to TYC. So I was looking at the different avenues, and TYC was giving me the confidence that, like, yeah, I can pull off anything. Like, I've got the content that I need, I've
Yeah.
got the platforms that I need, I've got the people that I need to bounce it off, I've got the marketing ideas. I understand that I need to collect emails. I understand that I need to have like an about me on my stand and the different images and the different marketing materials there. And so I signed up for this show that I'd never been to, ever, never been to. And honestly, it was like the universe put every single person there that we needed.
Oh my gosh,
But
that is so cool.
I got over 100 contacts in that one show, sold out within the first 2 hours of a 3-day show.
All of
And
your products?
yes,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, all the products that we brought there. And then had to quickly scramble and think on my feet and figure out how to turn those people that were still coming into ongoing things. Now, good thing I made the decision is I wasn't going to let those products go until the end of the show. So they stayed on the stand. And then I quickly did like a pre-order thing. And then that equated into having orders over a year in advance
Oh my
for
gosh, that is so cool.
retailers. Some stuff's going into airports, signing up in terms of the galleries and different councils.
That is so cool. So basically, you had sold every single piece. It sounds like it was a cash and carry show. And then you didn't let the items go until the last day. People would come and pick up their items. You had throughout the rest of the 3-day show collected information so that you were able to follow up with people and then turn them into buyers to like either shop on your website or to place orders from you later.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And the parameters that I set as well, I'm delving more personally into the carving realm myself, as in carving myself. But my partner, he's the carver, and I'm pretty sure we all can resonate as artists. We don't like really working to timeframes. And being a male, he was like, I'm not working to timeframes. And so
What does that mean? Like you don't want to have like a deadline to an order?
I would love to. Him on the other
Okay.
hand, not so much.
Okay. So I know that we culturally, even though we speak the same language, there is a different dialect. So I want to make sure I'm understanding what you say.
Yeah. So when you're carving stone, like it's working with tikanga, it's working with the customs, it's treating each stone like it is the taonga and the respect that it deserves. And so it's a matter of, picking up a stone and working with the energy of the stone or the energy that's presented to you at the time.
Yes.
Can't force the scenario. And so as each piece is entirely unique, time is required for that. And so I said to these people, and I explained that, and these are big companies, and they absolutely understood and they respected us even more for stipulating those boundaries and those guidelines.
Did it have them placing bigger orders because of it? It did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It did. Wow. That's amazing. So I just want to remind you that we're on it. Just say yes or no because
Yes. Sorry.
We're on an audio podcast. It's so cute. We might edit this part out, but if we don't, it was so cute because Antoinette was shaking her head yes. And I'm like, you got to say something because part of this is only audio. We could joke around. Wow, that's so cool. So that helped inspire like more urgency because you can't rush the orders. Wow, that's incredible. Wow.
Yeah. And anyone who didn't resonate with that wasn't a dream client.
Right. And so you're just like, well, it's not going to work for us then.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. So you were coming towards the end of your lease and you picked up these big wholesale accounts and you started transitioning online. So tell me a little bit more about the online selling. Like how did you make that transition and that leap to sell direct to consumer? Because it sounds like a previous part of your business was primarily direct to consumer because you had a retail store.
Yeah, it was. And so when I started TYC, yeah, we're sure we had a website, it was on WordPress, but it definitely wasn't my main focus. My main focus, it should have been,
Hmm.
there's a lot more reach there, but when you're in the day to day, you kind of get consumed of the, oh, I've got all these overheads. I need to meet this person in person. Oh, I got caught up in a 20-minute conversation. Oh, no, that was an hour conversation with one single customer.
Hmm.
Like, you just get caught up. And so, like, I would have loved to be, at home creating in the creative studio and doing all that. But I was running that place every single day. And the website was something that got a look in if I got a chance.
Hmm. So you weren't focused on that until you had to be. So what was
Yeah.
the process of making that transition and getting your website up?
So it was there and it had been there for a wee while. And then the transition slowly was found to write like a developer to transition and migrate the WordPress website over to Shopify. And
Okay,
then
great.
after that, I went in and I prettied it up and I did all the things, added more content. And honestly, like I have a large tech background as well. I'm sure Chelsea's told you I'm quite tech savvy. But Shopify is so seamless. It is so easy. And I am a person who has a lot of integrations and a lot of apps and things like that. But even then, it's still so much better.
That's amazing. So you were able to manage your WordPress site before by yourself because
Yeah.
you're tech savvy?
Well, yeah. So my sister, she's also a website designer. She has a
Okay,
website company and she's made an app. And so her and I just, yeah,
figured it out. So you guys figured it out, but you're now on Shopify, which is great.
yeah,
So you like the seamless use of it. That's amazing. I think Shopify is great for jewelry business owners who want to sell online.
yeah, yeah. This is great.
So how have you been promoting it now?
So main avenues through promotion is I've been on Facebook for a long, long time. So I'm
Mhm.
always directing people back to there. Obviously, in-person meetups, I get people's emails, add them to the newsletter. I've got a flow sequence on Klaviyo that helps, generate and talk to
Yeah.
them, tells them about us. And yeah, it's really interesting. Like my partner, he actually ended up walking the length of the country. He didn't quite make it all the way, but he started on
The
the
skinny or the
the,
long part?
the long part,
Oh my gosh.
and he was meeting people along the way, right? And then he'd tell them about Prada, and then they'll be like, "I know Prada," and I'll be like, "Oh, my marketing's working then."
That's amazing. Are you primarily selling to people in New Zealand then?
Yes, yes, primarily that is one of the things with TYC I have been branching out with and working on ways to get to that point. I'm still not quite where I want to be with that, but it's not far away.
That's amazing. I know that shipping internationally for a lot of people is challenging. And I went
Yeah.
to New Zealand a very long time ago, and I know that for a while, it selling online and buying online wasn't necessarily like commonplace there. Is that still the case?
No, no.
Okay. People are
Buying and
definitely
selling
buying
online
online.
is now one of the primaries.
Oh, really? That's
Yes,
awesome.
yes.
So, how and why did you decide to make the leap to, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm just gonna say it. Like, how did you decide to close the store? Like, what was you were coming up on the end of your lease and you had to make a decision. The area was closed off. Like, what was involved in making that transition?
By that time, the area had reopened again, and it was just like, look, we can go to this new premises if we wanted to. We could go online if we wanted to. We can stick with wholesale. We can, and I decided I just wanted my time back. Like
Hmm.
I just wanted my time back, my time to create, my time to, dream, my time to, and so that's what we did. That's
That's
what we
awesome.
did. Yeah, went online. I go and do shows and events around the country, when I can, when I won't. And we've got the retail, we've got the wholesale. Yeah, it works.
That's amazing. How do you feel like now that all of this is like you've made this shift from getting rid of your brick and mortar store and only going online?
Free.
Free? Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I absolutely loved that place. And all the customers, everyone who came into it, they thought it was like home. Like they felt like they could just chill out in there for the entire day, and we could yarn away. And sometimes, you know, we'd have a winery that come in and we'd do wine
So
tastings,
fun.
we'd do all those kinds of things, you know. Absolutely loved it. Best experience ever. But everything also has a time and place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a new phase, you know?
That's so great. And you have flexibility now to kind of like travel more and, you know, be with your family and all the things.
Yeah.
That's so great. So you decided to take TYC. What was the reasoning? Like why, what drew you to the program? What was exciting about it? Let me stop right there because we keep saying TYC, but some people might not know what TYC means. So it's our Train Your Customers to Buy From You online program. So Antoinette joined that and let's talk about that.
So train your customers online. I actually was told about you from my partner.
Okay.
So somehow you keep coming up on his ads. You'd think you'd be coming up on my ads, but no. And he was like, oh, no, you've got to look into this lady. And I was like, okay, all right. So I looked into it, and he kind of does this, you know, here you go. And then I
Hand
wrote
it over to you.
yeah. And then so I was looking in and I was like, yeah, sweet. And then I was having the calls and, you know, being a coach myself, and he's also got, you know, previous experience. It was, okay, well, is this just another coaching course? You know, is this actually the support that you require? Is this, and so like I was drilling, like I was drilling deep into it to really find out, because, you know, there's so many places that just don't give the support that you need, but they say that they do. What I was figuring out is you actually do, and that you actually go over and above. And
Try.
what's that?
Said we try.
And then I was like, no, no, look, hon, you do need to look at this. And he's like, oh, really? Like, is it? And I was like, no, seriously, you need to look at this. And so I got him to jump on a call with me. And then he was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then wasn't quite there. He wasn't quite there. And then I was like, nah, nah, cool, come on, let's do it. Really, do I have to? Yes, you have to. and, and then, yeah, now here we are.
You decided to join. That's amazing. So the one thing that I really love about what we've built over here at Flourish and Thrive that makes us so different from any other coach who coaches in the jewelry industry, because obviously there are other people, is that we have really leveraged the minds, the experience, the brains, the expertise of a huge variety of different coaches. Like when you come to a program like TYC, you're not just getting coached by me or Chelsea. We bring in experts from their different areas of expertise. And then we bring in student mentors and people who have gone through the program to help support and help get results. And so that's one of the things that I love the most about how we've really developed Flourish and Thrive, because I've never of the belief that like I have all the knowledge. You know, I'm great at like, you know, creating a presence and distilling what I know about growing a jewelry business and my years and years of experience and helping people from that way. But I also know that there are so many people who are doing things that I never did in business that are really valuable and valid that they can teach that help people get incredible results. And so I love it. And I love it that you're going to be one of our teachers in the program, which is amazing, and one of our coaches, which is incredible. So you guys will get to learn some amazing stuff and get feedback from Antoinette, and she'll be supporting along the way too, which is amazing.
Awesome. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
So, you know, you talked a little bit about what your business was like before. It sounded like you were basically tied to your retail space. You were having issues with the, you know, foot traffic because it was closed off for a while. And then you came across this decision where you had to decide, do we want to keep the retail space? I know that you mentioned this on a previous conversation that we were having during the Lane Foundation launch, but you also mentioned during that time that you had landed your dream location and you turned it down. So what was the decision to do that?
It was coming back to the time factor. I wanted my time back, and that was going to require a whole lot more of my time. And I decided no. I decided that one of my words for this year is aroha paparahi, which in Māori, that translates to love foundation. And that there is my focus for this year. Creating an environment for myself full of love that helps me thrive the way I want to be. That's in personal life, that's in professional life, that's in connections, that's in everywhere. So, yeah.
That's incredible. So we talked about a lot of different things on this interview, obviously. This has been so fun. How has the program, the community, the content, what you've learned help your business grow? What gave you a great result? Like, what were some of your favorite parts of the program?
Talking about gaining wholesale customers, figuring out the pricing and how to do that in terms of, retail versus wholesale, having assistance, because obviously there was a transition from, everyone could have been like, oh no, they're disappearing. Like, no,
Yes.
they're not disappearing. And so the marketing had to be really, really clear around that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, the way we structured the marketing and the assistance that I had doing that from TYC was just phenomenal. And it was a very, very stressful time. Sometimes
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't tell, up here from down here. And so just to have that support was immense.
That's incredible. Like, I mean, it's a lot of work to like shut it because it feels probably like you're shutting down your business, but you're not really doing that. You're just like
Emotions.
basically going through a huge transformation. It's like, talk about a
Yeah,
phoenix rising. That's how it goes, right?
yeah.
So, in your own words, like how would you say that you're showing up differently for your business?
My focus is really showing up more authentically. And I know a lot of my customers will think, I do show up more, I have been showing up more authentically when we had the mineral gallery, but now it's in a different space. Like I feel more rested, more calm. I can tap into my creative spirit more, and I'm not afraid. I think there was a point where I felt like I had to be a certain person. And like even before having the gallery, there was another point in my life where I entirely identified myself with my work and what I did. And then when someone would ask me, hey, who are you? I instantly default to my work. It's like, no, I am much more than my work. My work is just a part of something that I do. And so I've really owning, stepping into myself and who I am and communicating that.
I love that so much. You have so much power. It's amazing. If someone were to ask you if you'd recommend the Train Your Customers to Buy From You online program, what would you say?
100 and like not even 100%, yeah, 1000% do it. Okay. There is no way that you're not going to get your investment back. Like if that is what you're worried about, honestly, wipe it off the table right now. Like put the time in, put the work in, do the homework, and you are going to come out a person that you never thought was possible.
Oh my God, that is so great. Antoinette, where can everyone find you on Instagram and online?
So if you just search Your Prana NZ or Your Prana on Instagram or Facebook, you can find us there. Yourprana.com is our website, and that's yourprana.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me here, Tracy.
Thank you so much for watching this episode today. I am so excited to share Antoinette's story with you. If you would like to hear a little bit more about our Train Your Customers to Buy From You online program, it is open for enrollment for a limited time. Head on over and get your application in by heading on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/TYC and apply today. The program starts on April 23rd, and we're excited to get this going and help you scale your business online and maximize your profit margins and flexibility in all areas.